Next is the BMW M5. It's over twice the price of the other two cars and has almost twice the power. No doubt about it, the front of the Beamer says it all. 400 brake horsepower and loads of aggression pretty much sums up what the M5 is all about. Combining the ride and refinement that any executive car would be proud of with the power that a supercar wouldn't sniff at. From the outside, only the massive wheels and menacing exhaust pipes give the game away that this car is a monster in disguise. The sheer power of the V8 engine and the overall weight of the car means that there is no real need for spoilers and splitters here, just smooth and classy lines. And on the inside, the M5 is pure luxury with electric everything, all put together with a solidity that we're used to from BMW. It's double the price and almost double the power of the Vectra and the Subaru. But the question is it twice the car? Well, the first thing you notice about the BMW M5 is it just wants to pull through the gears and keep on pulling all the way through the rev range. And the engine note of that V8 engine is absolutely superb. Now, you'd think with all that power and being in a big executive car that the handling and steering would be somewhat wallowy, but you'd be very surprised with the M5. It isn't at all. In fact, it's so precise and so responsive that it feels like you're in a much smaller sporty car than you really are. Now, forget the fact that this is the top of the range 5 Series, and with that you get all the gadgets like the satellite navigation, television, telephone, leather seats, electric this, electric that. Put all that aside because you don't need it. The reason you're going to buy a car like this is pure and simply because of the engine and the performance that it gives. Now, one alarming thing is that while I'm enjoying this beautiful drive and listening to that sweet engine, out of the corner of my eye I can actually see the fuel gauges moving. In fact, there is a little dial that tells you of your consumption, and at one point we've had it under 10. So if you're on a budget, maybe this isn't the car for you. But because it's so big and so responsive, it gives you a sense of safety and confidence. And with traction control added to that, it really does want to make you go faster and faster. Now, although you're driving one of the fastest cars on the roads, you're also sitting in absolute opulence. It really is beautifully put together. And while some German cars are a little bit austere and a little bit bleak and black, this is very nicely put together and very classy and finished off brilliantly with a chrome touch. Now, before I wax too lyrical about this beautiful car, there are a few things I don't like. There's plenty of space up front for the passenger and the driver, but back at the back, there really isn't much room at all. Your knees are rubbing against the back of the front seats. And also, there's one problem with the gear shift I don't like. Reverse is pretty much right next door to first gear. Get that wrong in your new motor car and you'll know about it. Now, of the three cars, I'd have to say that the Subaru probably still has the edge in chuckability and handling. But this car isn't far behind, and of course you've got it all in the luxury of the M5. But this is a pure racing car and it continues the heritage of BMW's great history in touring cars. Safety-wise, we've already mentioned the traction control. It's got airbags everywhere, and because it's a bigger car than the other two, if you did get in a smash, there's just a little bit more metal around you, and so therefore you would be just a little bit more safe. The executive cars we tried last week had great performance, but this is, well, this is in a class of its own. Whoop! Fantastic! Now, although the performance cars that we did last week on paper have the similar sort of statistics to this car is just so much more responsive and sharp, and you really feel as though you're in a racing car. Without a doubt, the M5 is one of the greatest cars I've ever driven, and despite its size, it's still genuinely exciting and involving. And those performance figures pretty much say it all. 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds and a limited top speed of 155 miles an hour. But all in a package that still makes the M5 feel like a real driver's car. And as for insurance and fuel costs, well, this isn't a car for those on a budget. Of all the cars this week, it's the M5 that surprised me the most. I just didn't expect a car this big to be so responsive and alert. And in terms of power, it's absolutely unbelievable.